everybody. Jeff at All Keys Pro. Sorry about my little sarcastic intro. I thought it was sort of amusing when I thought of it the other day when it came to my mind. So the Behringer Model D arrived a couple days ago from Sweetwater Sound, and I just felt I owed it to myself first of all, and to my listeners, my watchers, my subscribers, the people who've commented on my videos, to sort of really kind of do an honest, not necessarily a review, but just my honest sort of feelings about playing these two instruments, and pointing out what I think their strong points are. It's been an interesting couple of days. I've learned a fair amount about the Grandmother, because I've been comparing the Grandmother and the Model D, and I've learned quite a bit about the Model D because I've never had my hands on it before, so it took me probably 20 minutes to make a sound on it, but I got it now. So the biggest difference, I think, between these two instruments is the filter, and the way the filter and the filter envelope interact is quite different. The Model D is much brighter overall, and the Grandmother filter is, I would say it's smoother. I would say it's a little more refined sounding. The Model D filter is brash and brighter, and the way the filter envelope interacts with it is really, you get kind of different sounds. So I would say that like the bottom end of the filter is more interesting on the Grandmother because there's more room there to be subtle. And as the filters open up, okay, you ready for this? The Model D has more room and more tone up there. More sort of expressive sort of qualities. Although expression is something I want to talk about too, because the whole package of the Grandmother, the way it works with the patching, all the patch points, and the semi-modular aspect of it, really makes it a very expressive instrument to play. And I don't think that's something you get in the least with the Model D. You do get good tone, and it's sort of, I must say, sort of hurts my heart to say that it really, you know, a lot of aspects of the Behringer Model D do sound great. What I have read about it regarding tuning has proven to be true somewhat. It's not terrible. It does drift around. I do find myself having to retune it, and I actually left both instruments on overnight to see how they would do, just with, you know, being on overnight. And the Moog Grandmother was perfect, and the Model D had actually gone a little sharp, and that's actually what's happening. It's going a little bit sharp, which is interesting to me. I keep having to kind of bring the pitch back down. So it's not terrible. I've, you know, worked with vintage synthesizers in the past, vintage Moogs and other, you know, Oberheims and stuff. And the older, the vintage analogs, you know, tuning was an issue with them. The original Prophet, the tuning was kind of a nightmare on that. It was, I mean, it was always a problem, but it actually had a tune button. You could actually press the tune button and it would tune in the middle of a show or something. So yeah, there's the tuning issue, and it's for real. It's not terrible. I've read some nightmarish stories about having to like open it up and get a tiny screwdriver out and really work on the inside, and then send it system exclusive stuff to get it right, but this one didn't do that at all. I don't know if I got a good one. I'm sure that firmware has gotten a little better. Yeah, this is definitely a later one. So, because I just bought it this week. So, I'm going to play some sounds for you, and just sort of compare and give you some notes as to what my thoughts are on them. So I hope you enjoy that. It should be fun. So this first patch is a 3 oscillator, 3 octave sawtooth patch with a little bit of filter and a little bit of envelope filter. So here comes the Grandmother. And here comes the Model D. As I said earlier, the way the filter and the filter envelope and the amount of filter envelope interact is so different on these instruments. It's really hard to match the sound perfectly. These aren't exactly the same sounds, but I think you can really hear a different quality here. All right. Okay, this next patch, after a little bit of diddling, and fiddling about, as I used to say in Tommy, is a 2 oscillator patch with 16 foot and 8 foot. This is kind of a typical kind of Moog type bass patch. The 8 foot is set to a square wave, and the 16 foot is set to a sawtooth. So So this is what I was talking about earlier. I'm right here. My face is off camera, sorry. The lower end of the filter use on the Grandmother is kind of more subtle. You get all of these nice and how the and then as it moves up, it doesn't go as far, it doesn't open as far. So check this out. Messing with the decay of the filter envelope and the amount of filter envelope. Similar, but check this out. So that's with both the same patch, but with both of the filters all the way open. Much, much brighter sound from the D. And it's not only brighter, it's a little buzzier. A lot buzzier. So if I bring the filter cutoff back, so that's about half, the filter cutoff at about half on each of these. So, you know, we're still getting that buzz. There's that kind of wow quality, and by the way, there's no emphasis here. There's no resonance here either. See, I actually love that kind of quality. And even this. Get that on the D. See, I feel like in that range of timbre, I'm actually liking what's coming out of the Grandmother better. But I have to say, I am rather unpleasantly surprised at how good the Model D does sound. If we want to talk a little bit about the build quality on the Grandmother is splendid. It's beautiful. I mean, it's not like a luxury instrument, but it's just really, it's built well, even though it's largely plastic. The knobs all feel beautiful. They all feel really good and consistent, and the sliders. The knobs feel okay. On the Model D, they're very close together because this is a small instrument. So these are all really, really tight. And it's easy to kind of hit this tuning knob by accident. You don't get any kind of premium knob on the cutoff frequency. And if I keep this instrument, I'll probably replace that knob with something a little bigger so it's easy just to kind of grab. I love the big knobby knob on the cutoff frequency of the Moog. These switches all feel crappy. They feel like I wouldn't be surprised if in a year or two they just don't work. They feel really, really flimsy. And as opposed to the knobs, which feel okay, this selecting knob, which lets you go from low frequency up to 2 feet, is god awful. It's really terrible. Like I was even like expecting the build quality on the Behringer to not be great. I was actually shocked at how bad those feel. And it's the same actually with these knobs, which select the waveform. I would be really surprised if in 2 years that's still working. They feel just terrible. It's you know that feeling of when you have those, like these kind of little selector knobs and you turn them, like it feels like there's dirt in it or something. That's the way these feel. Like when you have an old like if you're playing a really vintage synthesizer, it's got some years on it and hasn't been rebuilt or anything. Sometimes it feels kind of grainy. These actually feel kind of grainy, and there's the resistance feels wrong. It feels really it feels cheap, and you know we've got a $399 instrument versus a roughly $1,000 instrument, and that's another sort of interesting topic, because to me, like 400 and 1,000 is not a huge difference in price, because especially you're not really getting a complete instrument here. You're getting a module. For the $1,000, you're getting this beautiful, nice keyboard, two and a half octave keyboard. You're getting pitch wheels. You're getting more buttons, and you got this nice little spring reverb. Yeah, so you got this, as I was saying, you got this nice little spring reverb. Man, it's not really fair. Comparing the Grandmother to the Model D, because as I said, there's tone there. There's definitely tone. I could see myself like having it for an extra voice. Like it I have a feeling that the bass tones coming out of it are going to be killer. I would never really want to play lead synth on it. There's no velocity sensitivity at all. And you have to patch the Grandmother to get it, but you can take the keyboard velocity out into the VCA and also into the filter, and it can get really expressive and really feel really great to play, like it really responds to the way you're playing with your hand. I don't have that patch right now, but it's something I really love, and there's no way to do that on the Model D. I tell you one thing, playing the Behringer Model D has made me think that it would be killer to have a real Model D. Because I can hear what those qualities are that people love. And I have never owned a Model D. I've played one a few times in the studio, but that's kind of different because you're usually under the gun to come up with a certain kind of a sound for a client or for a tune, and you don't really get to spend, you don't get to spend quality time. So yeah, so there's that. Maybe I'll come up with one more sound here I'll program, and then we can sort of call it for today. Okay, stand by. check it out. This is one of the things I'm referring to the subtlety of the way the filter envelope and the filter interact. Like, this is one of my favorite kind of sounds on the Grandmother. So it's a 16-foot sawtooth and a 2-foot square wave. And there's just all this room here. How that rolls off and how much of the top note you get is really interesting and beautiful. On the D, it's much harder to get that kind of character. It kind of feels to me like there's a little bit of a less of a fine control over all that. It feels just a little bit coarser on the D. Like it's really... That's not bad. But as I open this, it starts getting kind of skanky pretty quick. I don't mind that. It's just a different kind of a sound. If you're going after this, as I open this filter, it's a little bit more refined sounding. I can see that having both these instruments in the studio is going to be useful. Oh my God, did I say that? So I will keep you updated. I'm going to also do a comparison between the Model D and the Matriarch, which is sitting behind me, and see how that kind of works. The Matriarch is much different kind of... the setup is much different. It's much more modular. It has stereo filters, and you can have a high pass and a low pass filter at the same time. You can actually do that on the Grandmother, but it's not nearly as dramatic, and they're mono filters. It's paraphonic, so you can play with how the voices in round robin sort of mode, how the voices respond to note selection. And I know that it's much more versatile than the Model D. But you know, the Model D might be a one-trick pony, but sometimes maybe that's the one-trick pony we need. Sometimes maybe that's a sound we need. So that's it for today. Peace out. Please like and subscribe. If you are interested in any kind of lessons, piano lessons or keyboard tutoring or production tutoring, I'd be happy to talk to you guys about that. I hope you enjoyed this, and I'll see you soon.